I love this business. I love this business. What other business can you have one conversation with a property owner, schedule an appointment, lock it up, close the deal in a week or two, and make $105,000? I'll break this down. This month, we've got one for 105, 38,000, 14,000, 28,000, 16,000, 25,000, and 20,000. Obviously, some of those have already closed here this month, and the rest are set to close this week. I mean, from one quality conversation with a property owner, it's absolutely incredible. The only thing stopping you in this business is the amount of quality conversations that you're having every day and the amount of offers that you're making. I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you grew up with a bunch of money or you had no money at all. Anyone can do this business. It all comes down to how many people are you willing to talk to on a daily basis. And the best way to make sure that you're hitting your financial goals is to put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't happen. You're being passive. You have to remove all of the mental blocks. You have to remove the weird identities that you place on yourself that, oh, other people can do it, but maybe not me. Or I tried and it didn't work out, or whatever else. The people that get through the first 90 days of consistency in this business break through. It is inevitable. It is not unlikely. It is inevitable. You will win. Just focus on having quality conversations every single day. All right. You can go out and you can just drive around and find ugly houses, write down the addresses, go home, Google, find white pages. You could put it in True People Finder, whatever you want to do, and you can get the contact information for those property owners and call them up and see if they would consider an offer in their property. That's right, Brandon. Brandon knows. Talk to people. Bridget's here. Absolutely incredible. We've got a banger show for you today. I'm just waiting for Eugene to log in. He's having some difficulties, but we've got Eugene Latson coming in. He's going to be talking about some of these crazy, hairy deals that he's got going on right now. Now, his main focus is pulling lists from the county directly. Get the lists from the county directly. Filter those lists based on his main specialty is tax defaults. All right. People that are going to lose their properties to tax foreclosures. Remember, this country is built on land leases. That's essentially what we have. The government owns all the land. That's why we pay property taxes. Right. And so if you don't pay your property taxes, they will foreclose your house and get paid. So this is an incredible list, and this is public information. If it's difficult to get that public information from a website, then you have to send in what's called a FOIA request. That's Freedom of Information Act. You can simply go to ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to write you up a FOIA request for the tax delinquent properties in your county. You can then email that over to whoever's appropriate on their county website, and they will respond. Some of them charge you, most of them don't. Okay. And so that's how you can easily get this list. But oftentimes you can just pull it directly from, they have the list sitting there waiting for you. Not only that, guys, a list that is absolutely banger for us, absolutely massive deals from this list is the code violations. Code violations, I am telling you, it is, I mean, you know that these properties are in distress. They're getting fined. And some places they're getting fined by the day. In Florida, holy cow, they will hit you up by the day. I mean, I'm talking 200, 300, whatever it is, dollars every single day. And it just starts piling on. And then all of a sudden it sucks all of the equity out of these properties. And we're going to show you the techniques to be able to do those deals. They're a little bit different, but they are huge deals. You're like, oh, well, this property doesn't have any equity. Trash can. No, you can negotiate those liens, but there's certain techniques in order for you to be able to do that. We're going to be breaking that all down. Look at this. We've got John Doe here. Brent, I've got 10 months reserves. Should I quit my job and go all in? I feel like my job is stopping. I work from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's crazy. What is that job, John? I mean, is that every single day or is that just a few days a week? You have to find the time. You have to find 20 hours out of the 168 hours we have every single week to commit to this business. You got to find it, whether it's the weekends or whether it's the days that you have off or the in-between times that you have some breaks. You have to find the 20 hours. You have time. You have time, John. You got 10 months of reserves. I mean, Bridge is saying do it. You know, go all in. Bet on yourself. Start your business. Get this thing rocking and rolling. 10 months reserves. I mean, if you stay absolutely, traffic control. Holy cow. Traffic control 6 days. What a stressful job. Holy cow. If you can do traffic control, you can do this business without a doubt. You have it in your DNA. You absolutely have it in your DNA. And you just have to decide, like, what is the marketing strategies that you're going to go for? What are the different ways that you're going? What techniques are you going to use? Are you going to go direct to seller? You're going to go direct to agent, or are you going to sell other people's deals? Right? And if you have a little bit of a budget, you can start getting these inbound leads, but also you want to be super proactive, reaching out to the niche lists. Code violations, guys, I am telling you, if you can get those, if you can figure out a way to get somebody that knows AI to scrape that list on a daily basis. We've got Jared Frankham in the Rhino Tribe. He is a master at this. We'll have him on the show. He's a master at building out with Claude how to get into the web, the county websites and be able to pull those lists every single day. If you get to those people before everybody else, you win. Speed to that lead is critical, but the code violations, oof. I mean, I haven't seen bigger deals than code violations. I mean, some of the ones that Eugene has are bigger, but he's unraveling a lot of stuff. And I've got my iPad here. We're going to be breaking all these deals down so that you know exactly how to do them. But I'm going to let the man himself tell you, guys, give some love. If you've watched this show, you've seen Eugene. He does big, massive deals, over 6-figure deals. Some of them are lower, you know, when he's screwing around or when he has to structure it so that, he only makes 70 or 80. But I mean, he's closed deals well over 200,000, well over 100,000. He's helped people in the Rhino Tribe close those deals. He's absolutely phenomenal. Nobody's like him. He's drinking some water, getting ready. So I'm not going to put him on screen right now. But as soon as he's done chugging this, we're going to bring him on. Here he is. Eugene.
How we doing, guys? How we doing?
Welcome back.
Welcome. I'm excited, Brent. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I want to just crack right into this. Okay. Mm-hmm. I want to crack right into, and this is some situations that you've seen. We've seen it in different states with different people when code violations or some of these liens, like they grow so high that there's no more quote unquote equity. What the heck do we do with these deals?
Great question. So one, let's just say on code violation side, if the amounts are crazy high on the code violation side, what you can do, kind of step one, what I would do is I would look at what's the as-is value.
Okay.
I would want to check, one, to see if an estate is open, and two, I want to figure out how can I get ownership of that deal so I can go to the county and negotiate those down. Ultimately, whenever you're negotiating stuff down, it comes down to ownership. So if you have ownership, whether you're the executor of the estate or whether you obtain some form of ownership obviously there's a lot of things you can do. Obviously you can do like buy the deed. You can maybe like a I've just figured out, I just found out the other day, it's like called an easement agreement, which is someone mentioned that to me, and is, you know, really well experienced individual who mentioned that. But there's a lot of things. Ultimately, it comes down to ownership. So you can go to the proper department and negotiate those down. And sometimes what you can do, have a file like that now where they're doing like they're the executor of the estate, but it's with property taxes, and you can write like a hardship letter. And sometimes, a lot of times, that can work. It's not a guarantee. It just all depends. Or sometimes you might have to wait till it goes to like a tax status hearing. I just had to attend one of those and talk to the judge, and just kind of give them status of why the taxes are here, why are they there, and you're kind of doing it on the seller's behalf. So there's kind of a couple options you can do, but either get ownership.
Real quick. So you're talking about getting ownership, and guys, I apologize for my handwriting. It is not a strength of mine, but I think we'll get it here because I would really want to break this down. So what do you mean by getting ownership? How do we get ownership?
You can either become the executor of the estate.
Okay. What does that mean?
It just means instead of the person with priority serving as the person representative, you can serve. Now, every state's going to be different, because you have knuckleheads out here who abuse it. But ultimately, it's just you being the person representative of the estate. And like I said, once again, guys, I recommend just maybe chat GBTing or even pay an attorney to see what are to do that in your state. You know, too often I see individuals where they look at, let's just say, a Maryland or a DC, and they're like, well, I should be able to do it if I'm in, you know, Idaho. And I'm like, talk to an attorney, pay an attorney for their time, and really pick their brain to see, you know, what's the procedure for that. Because every state's going to be different, I promise you. So
what do you mean by an estate? What does that mean? Does that mean it's not owned by an individual?
Yeah, the person has passed away.
Okay.
And when someone passes away and they have real property, what that is, you go an umbrella and you own a house.
Wait,
it's under your umbrella.
you're kind of cutting in and out there. Say that again.
So think of it like an umbrella.
Okay.
If you own a house, right? It's under that umbrella. That umbrella is your estate. So you
even
own
if
your
you
house,
don't, what if you don't have a trust or a will or any of that?
it's still under your estate.
Okay.
It's still going to be under your estate. The
So everybody
reality
has
of it
an
is,
estate if you own real estate.
if you own real estate, you have an estate. Like for instance, me, if I don't have a house but I have a car, that car is under my estate. Now it's going to be a small estate, but it's still under my estate.
Awesome. Let me hit this up real quick, guys, because I want to answer your questions as we go. Bazario says, how can I beat big wholesalers in Massachusetts as a beginner? I'm a realtor and the market is going crazy and there's so much competition. Should I focus on other states?
No. No. And like I said, I even spoke about this, Brent, at the event we were just at. Very, very powerful event. Once again, no. Massachusetts is one of the states we operate in as well. And no. What you should do is you should find a problem and get so deep into that problem and figure out how can you get to that problem first, or how can you learn the skills to solve that problem that bigger companies just don't have the time to do. Because understand this, guys, when you're going against bigger companies, most of the time, this umbrella of wholesale, for the most part, and Brent's been in the business long enough and he can probably attest to this, most of the time, these bigger companies who build these massive operations, they never actually learn like in-depth skills of how to niche things down. They can't. There's no way you can build a big team and learn how to snipe at the same time. It's very difficult. It takes too much time. It's just, so most of the time, if you're a one-man band, you want to go deep. And Brent, Max Maxwell, William Dennis, Willie Number, shout out. They say these type of things of go deep before you go wide. Once you build a big enough team, then you can start spending money on marketing and all that stuff. But when you first start out, it's the driving for dollars. It's the going after the probates. It's going after the tax delinquent properties. Like Brent used to say back in the probably around 2015 to 2018, around that time when it was the Brent Live show. Focus on the 1,000 ugliest houses you can find and go crazy of trying to get a hold of them. If you do that, you'll do a few deals a year, but you will do massive deals.
Yep.
If you focus on that alone, you're going to end up you're going to end up being more profitable than the company that's making $3 million a year. And I say this because ultimately that's not what they take home. They might take home a fraction of that. Brent teaches us 50% profitability at least, and I'm pretty sure they're probably taking home 20% of that, maybe
10 to 20. 10 to 20%. Yep. For the bigger companies, for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Stay in Massachusetts. I would start off with maybe driving for dollars. Find the 1,000 or 500 ugliest houses you can find and get obsessed with trying to find those people. Use Skip Genie. Use a genealogist. Use a private investigator. Try door knocking the property, door knocking the 3 neighbors in the back and the 2 neighbors on the side. And if you go crazy over those houses, you're going to start realizing that, oh, if I got 500 houses, some of these might be tier 1, some of these might be tier 2s, and some of these might be tier 3s. And you might start realizing once you get really good with understanding like the probate dockets and understanding how to work your county records, you're going to be more profitable in these bigger companies. So don't let that discourage you. I would go deep if I was you. That's what I would do, especially here in Massachusetts. Big ARVs, just like DC. It's a lot of opportunity out there. You only got to do a couple of deals a year to be okay. A couple of deals, maybe 2 to 3 deals a year.
Yeah, Bazario, when you're starting out, you want to get the big deals. Don't worry about volume. Worry about really getting these big deals. And we're going to be talking about the different tiers that Eugene was describing there. And because there's tiers 1 through 3, and we'll break all that down. But I am telling you, there are more ugly houses than there are people going after them. And if you specialize in those 1,000 ugliest houses that surround you, if you specialize in getting the probates list, if you specialize in getting the tax default list, and you're looking for the properties that are tax default because the owner passed away, and you watch these videos that Eugene is on this channel, you're going to build the skills to be able to do the deals that other people just don't have the patience or expertise to be able to do. So you really want to focus on doing these unique niche lists first. If you don't have a big marketing budget, you don't have things coming into you, really laser focus on getting great at one of these different niches. Okay. Just like Bridget was saying, the riches are in the niches. That's it. All right. So let's get back to this, Eugene. So to get ownership, you can become the executor of the estate. What if the owners, go ahead. You're putting the finger up. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm going to just say them. So you can buy the deed.
Buy the deed. Yep.
You can buy the deed. That's a much more high level strategy. So I'm not going to beat that over the head with the drum. You can buy the deed. I would say when buying the deed, that's something you want to have a budget for, guys. You want to have real solid training on, and you want to make sure you're in a good position, because that one, it's powerful. And if you don't do it right, you can ruin people's lives. So I'm gonna kind of go down to something else that's a little more. You can do an assignment of interest. That's a little less. It's a little less assignment of interest. Now, I've learned this the other day. And also, too, I want you guys to understand, if you're sniping or you're doing a cure of title, wherever they call it nowadays, guys, when you do an assignment of interest, the assignment of interest allows you to get there. Not priority.
Say it again. Your internet's sabotaging the show right now. Say that again.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are we good now? Or
yep.
Am I screwed?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Maybe I just need to be closer. But when you get an assignment of interest, that is for you to have their economic benefit. So if they were going to get 100,000, your assignment of interest means you step in the shoes to receive their 100,000. It doesn't mean that you automatically step in to say, hey, if you have priority and I have your assignment of interest, I can serve. That's not what that exactly means. If they were going to get 100,000, you bought their interest. When that property sells, you get that 100,000 because you're them now. right? Now, it can vary state to state. Just to be clear, it can vary state to state. Talk to your attorney once again. But that's what I've learned up here in DC and Maryland. So you might have to do an assignment of interest, some form of them consenting to you being the personal representative. And the judges may still look at that in a frowned way, because ultimately they're looking like, hey, you're an investor. It's in your best interest. And sometimes, they may just not go for it. You might have all the documentation and they still might reject it. Like, I've had some files here in DC where I'm working on being the executor, but turns out the documents that they had, they said, yeah, those discontinued because we had too many people abusing them. So now, which is kind of good, because for me, it's another barrier to entry, right? So you have to figure out another way. How can we get ownership? So you can still have the person, your heir, become the personal rep. And then from there, you kind of navigate how, because once they become personal representative, they can convey title. They can deed it over or do whatever, or transfer, or whatever the case is. So
is the executor the same thing as a personal representative?
Yeah, pretty much. I've noticed down south, they use executor, and up north they use more like personal representative. On the East Coast, they use more like personal representative, but and down south they use like executor, like North Carolina, things like that. So, yeah,
got it.
But
I really want to hit on this real quick. Why would you get an assignment of interest and not the deed? Like, why not just get the deed? Is it because there's multiple owners?
Yeah. So if you're going to get the deed, there's multiple different types of deed. You got maybe a quick claim deed, a special warranty deed. You just have multiple different types of deeds. And sometimes what happens, if you get a quick claim deed, underwriters, because it's been abused, underwriters don't like it. And you got to remember, guys, if your underwriter doesn't like what's happening here, they're not going to insure it. If they don't insure it, you're not closing that deal. You're not going to, your buyer pool just went from this to this. Like, buyers are not going to buy a deal unless it's like for $1 and is not insurable. Like, they're not playing.
Who does the underwriter work for?
Don't they tip underwriters usually work for the title company or something like that. Yeah, they're under the title company. So
I just want to
they're just the people in the title companies to make sure that they don't do anything to get sued, pretty much.
Yeah. So when you open up escrow, they're gonna pull the title report and they're gonna look for anything that they feel is not just ironclad. This is who owns this property. It was deeded over properly. So why would anybody even do a quick claim deed and not a warranty deed? Why wouldn't you just get a warranty deed signed?
Well, if I want to go after a property that, let's just say the ARV is 500,000, but the taxes are 1.2 million, it's underwater. So I can go to the owner and say, hey, listen, if the owner's alive, hey, listen, I will give you a contingent upon my success. I'll give you X amount of dollars for the deed up front. Let's just say $1,000. And if I'm successful, you'll get 50 grand on the back end. Now, most of the time, properties that are upside down on taxes, they're destroyed properties. These properties are not beautiful, guys. They're destroyed. So first you have to get the property, revive the property is what I call it. You have to revive it, and then you have to do a massive renovation. So ultimately, it's not a deal unless you can get that $1.2 million down to like 100 grand.
How do you revive a property? What does that mean?
It just means you negotiate the taxes down or negotiate whatever encumbrance is on it down.
Negotiate the liens.
There you go.
Yeah. What is lien? EINS or is it IENS?
I think it's I, but
yeah.
We're wholesalers, man. We're not spelling bee gurus here.
My report card for spelling was terrible. It was terrible. Me. Yeah. Okay, so you revive it by negotiating the liens, and they'll negotiate a property tax lien?
They can't formally say they'll negotiate it. They'll do like a credit, or they'll put you on a special program. But listen, if you know the right people in the tax office, between you and me, they can negotiate them down. Now, like I said, they can't tell the masses that, because if that gets into the wrong hands, probably people will stop paying property taxes. So they can't formally reduce your taxes formally.
So if you, okay, say you're like, they're like, yeah, I'll take 500,000 for this 1.2 million owed. You're not really paying the 500,000 though.
No, no,
You're
no,
just,
no, no, no.
you're buying the deed.
So
Oh, the house is worth 500.
The house is worth 500,000. Yes, the as-is value is 500. The house is underwater.
Yep.
I'm going to give them $1,000.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to give them $1,000, and if I can solve this problem, I may give them like 70 grand on the back end.
And how do you structure that? What kind of paperwork do you give for a back end payout?
Most of the time, you can just use a real estate addendum. You can use a real estate addendum. Some people use you can still use your standard purchase agreement. It's just held in escrow. It's just held by your attorney. So ultimately, long as it's an agreement to clearly state, I, Brent Daniels, will be giving you $1,000 up front and contingent of the property being sold, and I'm reducing the taxes down, you'll receive, $50,000 on the back end via cash or wire. It's signed and notarized, and your attorney holds it. So.
Yeah, because it's not a purchase agreement because they're going to give you the deed. You're the new owner. So
yeah, you could do
how do you protect the
a contract for deed?
Yeah,
like a contract for deed or something like that.
Yep.
But like I said, once again, it's not going to be held in title. It's going to be held by your attorney or in a safe place. So, ultimately, the only thing that really needs to get recorded is your deed. Ultimately, yeah. But if you want to negotiate stuff down and really want ownership and stuff like that, buying the deed is probably the most aggressive. But once again, I don't preach it because, like I said, it's something you really want to put money behind because, like I said, I've lost.
Oh man, this
money
internet's coming.
You've lost what? You know what I mean?
Say it again, Eugene.
I've lost money. Did I go out again?
Yep.
Oh, I lost money before buying a deed and then the property foreclosed. Like I gave the seller money. But the tax foreclosure came up and I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So, and when these tax lien states, you have like a status hearing. So, and I just had to attend 2 of them. So I attend the status hearing and then I update the judge on where we're at in the process. So I'm talking directly with the judge and all the individuals and stuff like that of where we're at in the process and to get extensions and stuff like that. So, but I didn't know that at the time. So, you know what I mean? So just school of hard knocks. So that's why I say and remember when that money's out, you giving it to the seller. It's not like, hey, let me get my refund back. That's not how that works. So once again, it's something you want to be capital. You want to have some capital or something like that, because if you lose that money and you, let's just say, lended it, or let's say you raised money for it, you can put some people in some bad situations. So I really, really don't push that as a beginner. That's a very much more advanced technique. So if you're hearing that, just understand it's an advanced technique. And if you screw it up, you can really screw up some people's lives. So yeah. Just stick to building the bank account from assignment of interest. And if you can, do a consent to person representative, or even more simple, just do a PSA. Do a PSA and set really good expectations, and maybe
purchase and sale agreement, guys.
Yeah, purchase and sale agreement, and ask your attorney, is there any way you can protect your interest in it? Or even, like I said, if you have an heir, just do an assignment of interest with them. So ultimately, if they did try to sell it, you stepped into their shoes, and once you file it, their share goes to you.
So you're telling me that there's 3 heirs, they all get 33%. They don't all agree on what should happen with the property or what it should sell for. So you talk to one of the heirs and you give them money up front to buy stock essentially in that asset.
Yes.
Guys, this is so powerful. This is incredibly powerful. This is, Logan Fulmer told me about it all. He's buying assignments of interest all over the place and sits on them for years sometimes.
Yeah, you just sit on them.
Mm-hmm. And so it just depends on, okay, if the house is worth $300,000 as is. The heirs don't agree on what to do with it. There's 3 heirs that each get 33% of this property when it does sell, and you can go and buy 1 or 2 of these percentages. You just have to work out a deal because these people want their cash up front. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And then once you have the assignment of interest, you take over their place in the ownership of that property.
Of the economic gain.
How much can you buy assignment of interest for?
Free, $100.
No.
It can be as, yeah, it can be as low or as high as you want. It's all negotiation, right? So I've done a assignment of interest where the person has got $7,500. I've done a assignment of interest where they've got $100. I've got an assignment of interest where they said, listen, you can have it. And
they just sign it over.
Yep. And I'll give them
why would they do that?
It's the same reason why people sell at discounts. They've been fighting this for forever, and their attorney can't solve it, other wholesalers can't solve it, and they're like, look, if you can make some money on it, best of luck. If I get something, great. If not, it is what it is. And that's usually the situation by the time it gets to that point.
So guys, listen to this. This is bananas. So Eugene specializes in finding deals where the owner on title has passed away. The family hasn't gone through the complete probate process yet. They haven't agreed on who the executor or a personal representative is going to be. They don't communicate. Sometimes, guys, Eugene is talking to people that have this type of ownership, and they didn't even know that they had this type of ownership. They had no idea, right? Most of the time, they didn't even know. And so when he's structuring this, is there a process that, I mean, you're not just hitting them right off the bat and going, hey, I wanted to let you know that I'm reaching out to you about a property that I believe your uncle owned or whatever, and you are one of the remaining heirs, and I want to buy your interest in this. Are you interested? Is that how you started out, or how do you structure this when you're reaching out? Because guys, what we're talking about here is next level. This is 2026, how you find incredible deals. If you're tired of having the same conversation with the property owners that have been called a bazillion times, this list right here, nobody's calling these people because nobody's doing the research. Nobody's going in and seeing who is still able to inherit this asset or a portion of this asset. And so Eugene's reaching out to these people that have never had these calls before, and he's educating them that they have inheritance sitting there, and they can't get access to the money from this inheritance unless all of the other heirs are on board and unless they sell that property. And oftentimes there is dissension. There are problems within the family that people don't communicate, or people have different ideas of what the property's worth, or somebody wants to take control and everybody else is like, you didn't even know Uncle Jerry. You hated Uncle Jerry. I was the one that went to baseball games with Uncle Jerry, and you're the one that thought he was a creep and hated him. And now you want to be the personal representative? No way. And then there's there's these infighting, right? And so you're reaching out and you're solving these problems by saying, hey, listen, what if I just paid you out? What if I just gave you money now and you assign your interest over to me and I'll deal with your family? Does that make sense to everybody? In the chat, let us know if that makes sense. Let us know if that's exciting. Let us know if you want to have conversations with people that haven't been cold called a million times about their property that's in rough shape. Or even better yet, the property owners are deceased on these properties, and people are calling their old numbers, running into a block wall. They try to reach out to the relatives a little bit. Nobody answers. And then they just let it go. It's just gone. They don't even talk to the right people. And now you're talking to the right person because you've done some research. You've done some genealogy. You know how to, you understand, what is it called when it shows like
line of succession.
Line of succession, baby. Line of succession. I love it. And Eugene's having these conversations. That's why he's getting these big, massive deals. That's why he's doing these big, massive deals, because he knows how to find the line of succession and have a conversation with them. I was on, in our group, we have what's called the virtual office, where people are making these calls, and Eugene was unmuted talking to one of the, it wasn't even the heir. It was somebody that used to be married to the heir. And you were like, hey, listen, I will pay you a finder's fee if you will connect me, if you will have this person call me. He's got money sitting there, and he's going to lose it to the tax foreclosure. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen. And she was pumped to pass that information along.
Yeah.
Pumped.
Yep.
So then you go in and people want money now. They want money now. They don't want to deal with a long process. They don't want to deal with the courts. They don't want to deal with probate. They don't want to deal with fighting over who's going to be running the show when it comes to the personal representative. Incredible.
Beautiful.
And then you get the assignment of interest for pennies on the dollar, guys. Pennies on the dollar. This is how you get these big deals. Now, it might take some time to get these closed, but you now have stock in that asset. We got to evolve. We got to evolve in this business. We got to go after that the ownership of the property. We got to buy the shares in the property, especially when it gets into hairy situations.
Definitely.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, okay, awesome. So, and guys, listen, I am telling you, we have people in the tribe that are specializing in finding the properties that have the biggest code violations, and you get ownership. You pay the owner to get on title, and then you negotiate the liens. And I'm telling you, they want to, a lot of these states, they won't even negotiate with you until the code violations are taken care of. Right, Eugene?
Exactly. Yep. On code violations, most of the time, if it has a code violation, those are actually a lot easier to negotiate. Those are like,
yep.
They're code violations. Those are relatively smooth. You can probably negotiate those with just a purchase and sale agreement. You don't even need like a deed or anything or to be an executor.
Some states.
Some states. Does depend on state specific, but if you're going to negotiate taxes, you got to have some form of ownership. Always.
Awesome. Let's talk about some of these hairy deals where it is a crazy probate, where you do have to unravel who the heirs are going to be and taking over and getting to the point where you can act as the personal representative. How does that happen?
So which one are you referring to? Being the
let's
executor?
just break down a deal. Let's just do this. Let's put some context to this. So let's just go through one of your deals, and I'll outline it here so that people can really see the full picture.
All right, I got you. All right, here we'll do this one. This one's on my mind, but it's kind of annoying. This one's in DC. So the situation was the original owner, we'll just call her Betsy Williams.
Mm-hmm.
She died in I actually have her death certificate here, actually. She died in 1977, January 1st, 1977. All right. She had one son named Stephen Williams.
Sure.
Stephen Williams, right? And then she had one son. Stephen Williams died in 2013, but he had 7 children.
Okay.
Now, those 7 children, so those 7 children, out of those 7, 6 of them are deceased.
Okay.
I reached out to the last child's ex-husband, who put me in contact with her daughter, who got me in contact with that last child.
How did you find them?
So when I went to the docket, I found out they were deceased. They owed, taxes owed was about 300, around 320,000.
Okay.
There was an attorney who was working on it, but once again, most attorneys, especially in DC, I had to educate quite a few attorneys on this. They don't understand what old law is. Most of the time with old law in DC, if you died pre-1981, the reality of it is properties can never be conveyed. So if they couldn't be conveyed, more than likely the title companies are going to say you have to do a quiet title. Now, you do have some title companies that will sometimes, if the priority child, which is her one child who died in 2013, do an estate for him, and then his estate can convey his mom's estate, who died in 77. Some will allow that, but most, let's say 85% to 90% of them will tell you do a quiet title.
So for this last remaining heir needs quiet title?
For this last remaining heir, I was luckily able to kind of dig into my attorney network, and I was able to find an attorney who put me in contact with an attorney to do a quiet title. But then turns out I found the title company that said, hey, if we can get that son's estate probated, we can convey his mother's estate, who died in 77. Because unless it's from when it's from child, parent to child, it's a direct line. So most of the time it's okay. But when it's like grandchild to their grandparent, they can't convey it right away. So that's why you have to do a quiet title. So you open an estate for 2013, and then from there.
So you do the estate for the deceased son?
Yes.
Okay. Of son. Okay. And then once you have the estate for the deceased son, does the deceased son then get the quiet title?
No. So what just happens is, because he's the son, he can go directly and convey he can sell that, because that was his parents' property. He can sell that. He can convey that and sell that.
But he's not alive.
No, the person representative. There's going to be a person representative for his estate, right? His child will be the last surviving child, will be the person representative of his estate, who then is the eyes, mouth, feel, the 5 senses of him, who then can convey the mother's estate. So whoever's the person representative of that one son can convey his parents' estate. Just to keep it simple. I know we can get really in the weeds of everything and stuff like that.
I love it though. I love it because this is I like getting in the weeds because these are big. By the way, so you reached out to the last remaining heir, and she is willing to sell you the property.
So yeah, we put in a purchase price of the taxes were 320. They're walking away with about 400 grand. And the ARV is about 1.6.
Okay, and so you gave them 400?
Yeah, they're getting 400. So the tax is 320. So they're going to walk away about 80 grand.
400 offer. ARV is how much?
1.6.
1.6 million.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And the last remaining heir is fine with walking away with 80K?
Yeah, the house is practically needs to be torn down.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, be honest, guys. Like, these properties, I promise you, these are not walkable properties. Like and in DC on those type of rentals, you can easily spend $500,000 on a rental.
When was the last time this heir was in this property?
1978.
So you have to go in and you have to take pictures of it. You have to tell them the condition. Like, how do they know what's going on and that this property needs significant renovations, repairs, updating?
Well, either one, like I'll pass it and I'll take a picture of you saying like, hey, this is what you're working with. And most of the time, guys, the good thing I will say about these, a lot of, sometimes these heirs, they know that, especially when it's tangled up in all this family fighting, they know the property's destroyed. They know the property is destroyed. Like they're mortified to look at what it looks like now. Most of the time when I'd be like, you want me, I got a locksmith, I can get into it right now and I can show you what it looks like. No, 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 no. I don't want to see it. I already know it's bad. They want easy. They don't want any of that. And then you got to remember, there's a tax sale coming up on this. So someone bought the lien, they're trying to foreclose. So you're not only do you have to deal with your emotional stress of keeping it together, then you have a big tax lien buyer who's trying to take your inheritance essentially. So ultimately, you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose the house and get nothing. So it's either work with a guy who has connections in the superior court, who can talk to a judge who's been to countless status hearings, who knows the jargon, who knows what they like to hear, who knows how to navigate these waters, or get nothing. And it's a when you explain it like that, it becomes a very easy conversation because the reality of it is most people, although they say, hey, I can do this, the reality of it is there's a lot of people who never had to go in front of a judge, who's never had to go into court and petition the judge or know how to fill out a docket or even know what to say, or even because there's certain things judges don't like to hear. Like when I had to do my last status hearing, I did it last Thursday. I had to go on, and mind you, they want a DC licensed attorney. I'm not a licensed attorney, jargon. So I know what they like to hear because there were other individuals who were single family, like individuals of the home. And when they got on talking to the judge, they didn't give the judge a clear timeline. They didn't give them hey, this is where we're at. This is why we're doing it. This is what's going on. This is how I'm related. They didn't give a line of succession. They didn't do any of that. And the judge ate them alive. The judges have no sympathy for if you're going to waste their time. I'm telling you. So if they're not, they have no time for it. So
they're so busy. Judges like have it rough, man, especially in this. Yeah. So with this last remaining heir, the estate, this is put together by you or the like a probate attorney?
So usually I used to do them myself. I'll do the petitions like myself and have the seller sign it. But now, because I have just so many of them, I rotate about 4 attorneys. I rotate 4 attorneys, and depending on the case, that's who I'll put in the position to handle it. So I have my attorney handling it.
And you're paying for that?
Yeah. I usually pay for the attorney. I'll pay for the attorney fees. But what I have done too, I don't always just immediately tell them I'm going to pay for it. I'll say like, hey, listen, I've had situations where if I'm paying for it, they don't tend to take them serious. Under one condition, if I pay for it, you have to be like on it. Like if you're not on it, I'll pull the plug on it quick and we'll just let this go to tax sale and we'll just move on. Or you can pay for the attorney so you have skin in the game. And 9 times out of 10, I use that to frame and set expectation with them to let them know like, hey, I'm doing you a favor. Because sometimes if you don't tell a seller you're doing them a favor, they may just think it's like, oh, you're just doing all of that. No, sometimes you need to let them know, like, I'm doing you a favor and I need you to reciprocate that. And if you don't do that, sometimes you'll have sellers, even in these situations, that will try to take advantage of that. So, and it's all about framing.
Yeah. If you're paying for the attorney and they're not getting the attorney what they need, it's a nightmare. And they're like, well, I'm not paying for it. So, whatever, I'll take my time on it. So that is wonderful framing. So what is a typical attorney cost?
You're going to spend between $5 to $7 grand in DC.
That's great. That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I've got some questions here. I want to get to them just so that we can keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Jose Tapia says, how do you determine how much to offer to buy somebody's interest? I have a lead in that situation. The property is run down, hasn't gone through probate, and one heir wants to sell. Beautiful, Jose. This is prime time.
Yeah.
How do you determine how much to offer?
So literally, you got to look at the as is value. As is value is everything. So let's just say the as is, like if you was to sell it to a cash buyer, let's say you can sell it to a cash buyer at 250. And okay, and there's 3 heirs. What's 250 divided by 3? Anybody know math on that? I don't know the math.
Yeah, 90. No, that's 270.
Let's just say
whatever, 80,
90,
80,
okay.
80, 83,000.
Let's just say 80, whatever. Okay. So now the question is each of them get 83,000. So now the question is how low can you get that person's portion of the 83,000? So what I typically try to do, I try to be like, all right, if I know your portion's worth 83, depending on how much complexity I got to go through, that's going to dictate it. So if I know I got to go through a lot of crap, I'll be like, hey, listen, I'll give you $500 now. And then sometimes I'll give you $500 and that's it. Or I'll give you $500 now and then give you 20 grand on the back end. Because then at that point, I'm all in for 20,500, and then I got all that. I think I'll be left with 60 something thousand in positive equity. So, which is profit. So, and you got into the deal for about what, $500?
Structured buyouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
You structure it so you get the interest up front, and then you give them something on the back end. This is something an attorney can draft up. You get it signed, you get it notarized. You make sure that everything is recorded. Make sure that your notary is, you give specific instructions for the notary to record on video them explaining what they're signing. What they are signing, right? Because you don't want somebody coming back and saying, oh, they tricked me. And now you've got a lawsuit on your hand. Make sure with any of these, get the notary there, have it so that they're recording it. They set up their phone. They're recording it on their phone. They send it to you. That is part of the service that you do. And the notary can just explain that this is the way that that's standard operating procedure for your company.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
yep.
Guys, I am telling you, if you do not do this, you are going to have a lot of problems down the road. If somebody gets in their ear and decides that you lied to them or something. You let them explain. It's in black and white. It's on the purchase agreement that you understand 100% what you're signing. You're agreeing to this. Okay, great. They go through it. They sign it. Boom, notary. Make sure you do that with these type of situations when you are getting an assignment of interest every single time. Every single time. Awesome. We've got Jamie. Gabe and Jamie. I hope Gabe's doing awesome. Jamie, how long would you say your money is out before you get it back on average? It take about 3 to 6 months. I imagine we don't want to put out 7,500 unless we know we can get it back in a certain time.
So I would say one of my biggest issues this year, it was having a lot of money out to attorneys and having great deals. But if the cash conversion cycle is long, you're going to run into some issues.
Yep.
So I would say, but like I say, you didn't know what you didn't know. Like, guys, for instance, I am the type of individual where I like to go, test, go, test, go, test, go, test, go. I don't want to, make all these scenarios up and then I'll figure it out as I go. So, but anyway, I say that to say, I would recommend, Brent, you mind if you erase that if we go over the tiers real quick? Because this will make a lot of sense when I'm going into the money aspect. Yep. So, guys, when you're first going, what I would say is you got your 3 tiers. You got the easy tier ones. This is where you're dealing directly with the owners. Most of the times, it's probably still tax delinquent. It's in bad shape. And, it's just in a really rough shape and the owner's going through something. So you're dealing directly with the owner. Tier 2, the owner is deceased and you're probably dealing with their child or even grandchild, most likely. Most of the time it's going to be the decedent's child. And it's probably going to need a probate to get through it. Tier 3, that's really where your cash conversion cycles are going to be the longest, but your deals are probably going to be really big. So what I would say is if you know it's a tier 3 and you know you have a limited budget, just pick a couple tier 3s in a year because those deals will take longer. The issue that I had was I'm going through it and I'm like, oh, it's a tier 3. Now, the issue is when you know how to solve so many problems, you want to solve everything. So now you're like, well, I can do this. Well, I can do that. Well, no. So that's what I would say. If you're doing tier 1s and tier 2s, I would say you can probably have those turned around in about 30 to 60 days.
So what makes a tier 3?
A tier 3 is the owner died, their kids died, and it's like they fell off the face of the earth. Like you can't find them. They're not on you probably have to get a genealogist to find them. Or to find their relatives or distant relatives. Just hard to find.
And this takes longer because of the probate process?
One, it could be the probate, and two, most of the time when people die, like back in like the 70s, I've seen people die in the 40s on these. Like,
and they're still on the ownership of the property?
Yes, and if the property wasn't conveyed or anything like that, it's like a genealogist has to go through like the census. They got to go through any newspapers that find old obituaries. It's just not as public record as like you can put it in the Skip Genie, because the Skip Genie or Deal Machine, it'll say, oh, there's no possible relatives because it's just so far back. Like once you start getting back into the 19 something. Skip Genie and stuff like that, it's not gonna, do you the most. Even a private investigator might not do you the most because, their records. Like I have a private investigator friend. He tells me like when you start getting back into the 19 somethings, man, the database is just not as strong for that type of stuff. So
it's just finding the right person before it's sold to the tax sale.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But to answer your question, if it's tier 1 to tier 2s, 30 to 60 days, like Brent got. If it's tier 2s, like I said, 30 to 60, that's pretty standard. And then tier 3s, I can see 3 to 8 months, 3 to 9 months.
I put 12 just in case.
Yeah, 3 to 12 months. I would say 3 to 12 months, because also too, guys, remember, there's going to be a learning curve. There's a learning curve. We don't really think about that too, because what if the judge denies your petition because something's not this or something's not that, or you have someone who contests, right? Like I have 2 files right now where an heir is like contesting on it. I'm like, what is going on here? Right. So
we have one right now. Yeah, we have one right now that he popped out. Luckily it's a tier 2 that we're dealing with. And but the son, one of the sons passed away, so we have the grandson, and then the living daughter we're working with, and then the living son is still around, living in the property and not paying the property taxes. It's going to go to auction, and so he popped up on, because what happens, guys, is they will send out certified letters to anybody that's in heir and say, hey, listen, show up to this court date to determine who's going to be the personal representative. And the person, the gal we're working with, wants to be the personal rep because she's responsible. The son wants to be the personal rep because he wants to run the show and control everything. And he's a complete knucklehead. He tried to blow up the mom with a homemade bomb and ended up blowing off half of his hand. That's what we found in the paper, in the newspaper. And so it's a wild situation. So we'll see how that unravels. But even in these situations, it gets tricky.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I got some more questions here. So Stephen asked, if you buy an heir's interest and hold until they ultimately sell, say for a year, how does the upkeep go until it's finally sold?
Well, now if you bought the heir's interest, it's in your best interest to get it sold as quickly as possible. So you can still petition to have it sold, or you would have to kind of maybe sometimes do a partition to force the sale, right? But that's a lawsuit in itself. So Yeah, if you want to get it sold as fast as possible, you can always go partition. That's more expensive. In DC, that's between 20 to 25 grand. In other states, it could be 7 to 15, state specific, but or just try talking to them and seeing if you can come to some form of agreement.
Do you see any advantage to you buy the you get the assignment of interest, so you have ownership in this property now. It's going to a tax foreclosure. Do you just pay the tax foreclosure off,
You
or
can. I mean,
the past due taxes, so that you buy yourself more time to be able to unravel it?
so there's two ways. Yes, you can do that, but I would do that if I had the deed. Because I need ownership. Because remember, guys, if you pay the taxes off and you don't have ownership, what if the seller has a change of heart, or you just took their biggest, the thing that's motivating them to work with you, you just took away from them. Remember, I know how to go to the judge and get an extension. So I can get an extension for 9 months to a year if I need to. I'll just go to the status hearings. And then, like I said, you know what I mean? But if you have the dry powder, if you have the cash, and if the taxes are something you want to pay, sure. I mean, you can. But if you don't have to and you can still extract money from it, I wouldn't, unless you got ownership, though. Unless you got ownership.
Yep. Are there best states to do this in that make it easier to access the information?
The best state to get information is the state you can stay consistent with.
That's right. Yeah,
To be honest,
they all have their nuances. Yeah. So how often are you going to the courts? It sounds like you're at the courts a lot.
So the status hearing, those are virtual, so I just have to be on via phone. As far as, unless my attorney needs like a will, I need to go get a will or something like that. Most of the time I'm not. Most of the time, if anything, I would say what I'm doing now is actually managing quite a few attorneys at this point. Like managing, like, hey, where are we at with this? What's the status update on this? That's kind of actually what I'm doing. I'm actually managing people who went to law school, unfortunately, and educating them, which is completely weird because that's where a lot of time goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Yeah.
Love it. Tim asks, great to hear from you, Tim. What does your opener sound like when reaching out directly to the owner versus reaching out to somebody who may be the heir? Do you directly mention the tax or foreclosure status?
I used to when I first started, back naive, but then I realized as I kept going through it, I'm just straight up blunt with them. Like, hey, my name's Eugene. I know the call's out the blue. I was reaching out because a property was left behind by Brent Daniels, and I was just.
Oh man, he cuts out at the worst time.
These are funds for the property. Seriously?
Yeah. So,
all right.
I was calling because of the property, and then.
Yeah, I was calling. Hey, this is Eugene. I was trying to reach out to the family members of Brent Daniels who left a property behind on 123 Banana Street. And I just was trying to see if the family had any interest in receiving any proceeds for the property or funds before the state got it. That's it.
Both same conversation. Guys, write it down, rewatch it, write it down, find the transcription, whatever it is that you need to do on this video, but write it down. So basically, do you want to receive funds before the state takes it?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say I used to use your opener, like, hey, would you consider an offering your property there? Like it all comes down to tonality, tone, pace, and speed.
Yep.
it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like
only 14% of the words you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the real thing is your pace. Are you talking? Are you matching them? Are you sounding curious? Are you being kind? Are you coming with like a kind solution? Are you sounding like as Brent used to say, assignment fee breath? Like they can sense you want to get this deal so you can go make $100 grand or wherever the case is, or are you actually trying to serve these people the best way your capacity? Because they can tell, they can feel it. So it's really more about those three things: tone, pace, and speed. And if you can do that and not try to be too smart. Sometimes the biggest problem I see with individuals who are sniping or doing curative or whatever, sometimes they're too smart. They're not curious enough. They know too much. So I actually prefer like you should try being a little dumber, like dumb it down. Try to be really like a child. Have childlike curiosity. Those
That's
people tend
right.
to do a lot better. So, yeah,
Most
being too,
underrated skill. Yep.
yeah, of
For a tier 3 property, would you hire a private investigator or a genealogist to find the heirs?
course. I mean, if it's a tier three, I mean, if it's a tier three, the only reason it's a tier three is because you went through all the channels to try to find them already. You find out it's a tier three as you're going through it. Like, oh man, I can't find anyone here. Okay, this is probably a tier three.
Yeah, it's incredible. We have this. We had a genealogist here locally, and that's the advice, guys. Get a local genealogist to wherever this property is. Right, Eugene?
Yeah, local. I seen it always does the best. You can get more nationwide genealogists, but when you start hitting them with volume, they tend to get a little more squirmy because attorneys use genealogists too as well. Attorneys use them a lot, and they've been using them for decades now. So it's a pretty common thing in attorney world. So, but yeah, genealogists, you want to do it local.
Our genealogist is called Nosy Wilma.
That's good. That's
It was
good
gangster.
right
I mean, the report that she gave was robust. I mean, incredibly robust. Showed who was deceased, who the heirs are, the whole family tree. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible what a genealogist could do. And I wish there was just like a website that you could just plug things into and get it. But apparently, it's not that easy sometimes.
No, because these people are going. Remember, these guys are going through records and publications and things that only people that are doing research have access to. The general public don't initially have access to. You could do this. Go to a genealogist bank, and it's like a computer where they have the same devices that they use. But can you understand how much time you're going to use to do that? You're going to spend you might mess around and spend 8 hours trying to find two people. Like,
it's a great way to feel busy, but not
creative avoidance. Oh yeah, creative
avoidance. Yep, it'll sneak up, and then all of a sudden you're not doing income producing activities. You're doing all this research, and you're feeling good about everything, but nothing's happening. And then you run into a dead end, or you do all that research. This happened to us. I've got Darian, who's doing a couple different roles for us. And one of them is doing the research on the tax defaults. And he did all of this research and he got down to the nitty gritty and finally reached out to one of the heirs or whatever. And right before he had a conversation like, oh yeah, we already filed the probate. We've got it taken care of. Right. And we didn't check the probate records right before going down. And it had been like weeks before they had filed for the probate. So there was a personal representative. They were already taking care of these things. And we were like, oh, this is such a great deal. This is incredible. They're behind 3 years on their property taxes. It looks like it's been vacant. My guys drove by it when they had an appointment over there. They're like, yeah, this property is, needs a lot of love. It's just overgrown. It's crazy. And you pull up you look in the court records and they filed a probate 2 weeks.
Hey, Brent, let me add something in.
Yeah.
I would say all the people in your market, like I'm doing this now, right? So I'm focusing a lot on my tier threes to just finish them off. I'm pretty much done with my DC list at this point. It's just taking on higher problems at this point. I have a list in my notes where I literally have the address of the heir and then I just go door knock them. I just did that. And we have a call with them. I have a call with them at like 5 today, and it looks like it will be something pretty nice. But like that's something too, right? People, yes, you can get a genealogist, yes, you can do this, but if you really want to like accelerate it, if they're close, man, go to the door, get their address, and go to the door and door knock. And I said the same. And if you were to say like, what do you say? The same exact thing that I just said on this call is what I said in person.
Do you have to bring documentation? Do they think it's a scam? Do they?
I showed them on my phone. I did this. I put it in. I said, this is the taxes. This is your mom. This is what's happening. This is. I showed it. This was my verification device.
Show the proof.
Exactly. I showed them the proof. And then then they were asking me like, well, what do you want to pay for it? I'm like, most people would sit there and be like, well, what do you want? No, you want to be curious. Like, because sometimes when they say that, guys, remember when they say that, they're not saying that because they don't know what they want. They just want to see if you're going to take advantage of them. That's really what they're trying to see. And then if they figure taking advantage of them, they probably will try to ghost you. So sometimes you just kind of do what Brent says. Go to the Zestimate. If it's over 250,000, times it by 50%. I like to minus it low by 30 grand and give them that range. And probably properties in similar condition are probably selling between this range and this range. And if they're anywhere near that, lock it up. And it seems to always work. Most of the time when I do that, if I do that right there, I don't have to think. Like most of the time I know I have a massive deal. I don't have to think about it. So that's what I would say. If you ever wonder like what should I offer? Go to Zillow. If it's over 250, times it by 50%, hit them with that. That's it. And Brandon,
would you even bother under a certain price point with these, Eugene? Like if the house is, because we've run into this with some people in the tribe where the property's worth like 115 totally fixed up and it's destroyed.
And we talked about this at your event. So what I would say is if you're in an area where the ARV is a little lower, I would still look at those, but I would look at it from a different lens. That's what I would do. I wouldn't look at traditionally from the lens of I'm looking at $1 million property, like, because guys, you remember with this curative title and tax sniping or whatever, it comes down to not necessarily the property, it comes down to the operator. It's the operator that makes these work. It's the operator. It's not the market. It's not the list. It's the operator. Too many times I'm seeing people, hey, this guy's doing a big deal over here. Let me go over here and try to do what he's doing. And then before you know it, these guys stall out and they're not even in that market anymore. Like it's the operator. It is the operator, not the market. But what I would say is if you're in a market where the ARVs are lower, I would, one, figure out a niche, see if you can negotiate stuff down. Maybe you might have to start taking things on market, like listing these opportunities. Maybe you might have to start looking into bringing someone who can flip these, and then you create like an equity split or something like that, and you take these on as a flip. Maybe it might be something where, like I'm saying, there's so many things you can do to make these things profitable. And yes, it may not be the lazy way of like, hey, it's worth $1 million. And I got it for 200 and the tax are 100. No, it might not be that simple, but I'm telling you, you could probably figure something out because there's people in that market making money on those deals. I promise you. They're just not being loud.
Because they know how to recognize potential.
Exactly.
That's it. That is the levels of the game when you're just starting out. I mean, it's like when you add tools to the toolbox, you move up the levels of the game when you have different strategies to be able to make income or build wealth from any of these leads. You know, if you're just getting started out, find an ugly house. Find an ugly house that's owned by a living person and have a conversation and get it done within, 2 weeks to a month. You know what I mean? But as you start getting in this and you're recognizing the potential in different deals and you've got more of the skills to understand different ways that you can structure these opportunities, then you just move up. And that's what you're talking about by the operator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Someone's making money in every single market, guys. I'm telling you. There's someone making money in San Diego. There's someone making money in New York. There's someone making money in Ohio. There's someone making money in these low price point areas. So I don't want to hear, oh, my ARV is low. Should I move somewhere else? No, you should probably try to figure it out, because once you figure that out, you're gonna at that point, you're gonna have so much knowledge. So ultimately, you're gonna be able to operate in different markets because now you know how to recognize patterns. You understand pattern recognition. You understand how to find the tax sweet spot. You understand how to identify opportunities. You understand core fundamental things. So that's why for me, when I go to another market, I don't necessarily have as long. I might have a little learning curve as using like the case search and stuff like that, but we have AI now. So I use that a lot of times to figure that out. But as far as the fundamentals to it, my learning curve is not as long because I have the foundation set up. So as long as I follow that process, I'm going to be fine. I'll be fine. So yeah, that's why I say stay in your market, learn, and then expand. That's what I did, and that's what I preach.
And how important is getting the information from the county?
I mean, I only get it from the county. I
Why?
only get it from the
There's
county. I mean,
there's providers, right?
yeah, of course. You got the real supermarket Achuda. Shout out to him. I've been using contacts a day. He's been phenomenal. The real supermarket, you got US Leads List, Micah Nichols, you got Deal Machine. You can pull your prop stream batch. You can pull these leads, but understand they're watered down. They're watered down versions of it because it's not updated as much. So I recommend, since you're going to be sniping, it just makes more sense for you to go to the county, maybe get the list, or submit a FOIA request to get the list, or ask ChatGPT of how to get the list, and then learn how to filter the list, and then go from there. That's what I would do. That's what I would do, to be honest. I've seen those are that's the easiest way to really open it up. Let me just say it like that.
I'm going to give you guys some resources here that you can get some of these information if you don't want to go down to the county, but we highly suggest that you get it from the county and then set it up so that you can get it daily. Getting the speed. There is one company. I just talked to Sam, and we're going to be Syndicate. Guys, let me know if I spelled that wrong. But Sam Singh has really Syndicate. I don't know. Datasyndicate.com. I mean, we're going to be testing those out. They drop in, they scrape it or go down to the courts in around the country daily. Grab those for you. We're getting pre-foreclosures, we're getting divorce, we're getting code violations, and something else, and it just drops in every single day. And so we're going to be testing that out big time here coming up as soon as we start getting those, which should be today, tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But the people that are using these guys are going bananas, but you don't have to pay, but they're expensive. I mean, they're expensive. So I'm just telling you, I mean, this is probably, I think it's a yearly charge of between $5,000 and $6,000 a year to get these. And, but they're fresh every single day. If you have the budget, great, do it. If you don't, you can get it yourself. Are you using scrape the sites or what?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Brent, I follow your method. It's a lot of the old stuff you used to say, honestly, but I chop wood and carry water still, man. I still chop wood and carry
those
water.
things. I still say those things.
I still chop wood and carry water, man. I get it. We're in the AI. I use AI a little bit, but maybe I don't understand it enough to put all my faith in it yet. But I still, because I was a financial analyst for the Pentagon, so I'm a whiz with Microsoft. So if I get the data,
flex on us, Eugene. Come on.
I'll just literally I know how to use Excel, so it's like, I'll just use Excel and I'll just do it myself. But if I don't, I mean, AI is cool and stuff like that. But guys, I would attest my biggest learning curve to go from like knowing this much to like this much. It came from the chopping wood and carrying water, doing the boring stuff. It came from the boring stuff. I'm telling you, like, if you're asking me, Gene, how do I go from knowing this much to knowing this much? It comes from chopping wood and carrying water. The 100 contacts a day.
How many days did you go in a row?
6. On average, it was 6 days, and then whenever the deal closed, it was 100 day. It was 30 days straight, 7 days a week.
What'd that do for you?
I always got 3 deals that month. Always. But what I was saying,
it take you to get 100? Hey, guys, this isn't. See how I didn't say calls? See how I didn't say that? No, contacts. He literally spoke to 100 people that owned the property a day for 6 days a week. He went 30 days straight like an absolute psychopath and got 3 deals every month because it's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers, and you weren't really tightening up the list that you were calling. These were
I
really big,
was
bulky lists.
tax delinquent,
Mm-hmm.
probates, and I was calling all of Maryland. That's all I did. But what I'm saying to that is, guys, you got two ways. If you're talking about I need to get a deal, like I need to go bananas. Brent, can you scroll back down real quick?
Yep, I got you.
That method right there, if you do that, your brain's gonna hurt for a little bit. But I promise, if you do that right there, 100 contacts, 6 days a week, or do the 30 days straight, 100 contacts, and you don't get a deal in that, then please, I would love to chat with you. But that's a great way. Like if before you even want to get into sniping, you want to figure out if you got the tolerance for sniping, try this. Try this, because sniping is going to be more skill based, and you're going to have a lot more hiccups than this. This way, it's like, can you endure this for, a month? But this is a great way to build up to 100 grand.
How long does it take you to get 100 contacts in a day?
I used to use Real Supermarket. His data was phenomenal. Probably 4 or 5 hours. I would start at 8 and I'd be done by like 2 o'clock. No. Yeah, 8 and I'd be done around 2 p.m. So what is that? 6 hours? 6-ish hours? Something like that.
So let's just say 5.
Hours.
Let's just say 5. And for the 30 straight days, that's 150 hours. And you did 3 deals?
Yep.
And what was your deal size?
They were typically averaging between around like 25 to 40, right around there.
So can we say that that's equal to 90,000?
Yeah, right around there. Like when you averaged out what I did that year, it was right around, I was probably making like 50 to 80 a month, something like that. No, 50 to like 60.
So let's look at the hourly rate that you were earning. You were earning $600 every hour of calls. Who's earning $600 an hour? No. That you don't need a degree for, that you don't need a reputation for, that you don't need. I mean, the costs to be able to do this is a Mojo dialer.
Yep, Mojo.
And some lists from realsupermarket.com.
And CallRail.
And CallRail. Yep. CallRail for your caller ID numbers?
Yep.
And then this was the platform that you used, that you found out, wait a second, I'm running into these unique properties, these tax snipes that you have to unravel. You're running into these type of deals here, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then it starts rolling, because I think the first deal that you did was actually from Driving for Dollars.
Yeah, Driving for Dollars. All my original snipes came from Driving for Dollars.
Right.
It just wasn't a name behind it when I was doing it. I just didn't know.
Yeah, but you called them and what? The owner was deceased, so you were like, okay, I got to find somebody for these.
The owner, yeah, exactly. Owner was
deceased. Or was
deceased.
it tier 1?
No, it was the owner was deceased. The owner was in a rough shape. It was vacant. It had the triggers. It pretty much had the 4 triggers. And Skip Genie, and like I was calling and I got a hold of a child who told me what was going on.
Let's talk about the 4 triggers real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
All right. So 4 triggers. Trigger number 1, and like I said, as long as you're staying, I don't care what state you're in, what market, as long as you're staying to these 4 triggers, you will be okay. You'll find distress. Some form of delinquency. Ideally, I like tax delinquency because it means they don't have a mortgage. Only mortgage you'll have to look out for a lot of times is a reverse mortgage, or there might be some funny stuff. And most of the time, it's usually free and clear. I like vacant. I like a deceased owner. And I love the house that's in rough shape.
Rough shape.
If I'm in those 4 triggers, I don't care what list, I don't care what it is, you're going to be in the money. You will be in the money. I guarantee it. If you go back all the deals you do, even Brent, maybe you can try this too. Some form of those triggers were in your deals.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere, some shape, some fashion, it was in there. Somewhere in there.
I had all three of these on that deal that you saw Ryan lock up 2 Thursdays ago, Eugene. Locked it up. It was a vacant property, had rats, had a lot of, deferred maintenance. The owner just passed away, and the niece took ownership, and obviously it was in rough shape. It wasn't delinquent because it was fine at that point. It had just happened, and it turned into a $105K deal.
Beautiful.
Guys, if you want to do massive deals, look for these 4 triggers. Look for these. This is how you do massive deals. When you start unwinding some of the problems that people have with these different tiers, this is like what's going on with the ownership, right? This is what's going on with the property and the ownership. The triggers here.
Yep.
And that's how you get these bigger deals, because nobody else is calling them, and nobody else is willing to take the time to unravel these things.
Yeah, and it takes skill. It takes
skill. But you build skill by this.
Yep.
That's how you build the skills, guys. There's no excuses. If you're not willing to do it, I get it. Like, I understand there's a lot of education. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of things around. This is super easy if you just do it. But I'm telling you, this business is difficult. This business is going to challenge everything about you. But once you come out the other side, you actually are going to be in this business full time forever. You're actually going to be one of the success stories that we talk about on Wholesaling Inc. You're going to make it in this business. But if you don't think that you're going to be able to gut it out for at least the first 90 days of staying consistent, I would love to tell you there's an easy button. I'd love to tell you that you can just let AI do it. Just buy this CRM and let AI text them and do these easy follow-up sequences, and everything's automated and you can do all these things. That's just selling you something. They're working on your insecurities that you can't do the hard work. That's it.
To be honest, guys, if you don't want to think about sniping, this right here, that method, that right there at 100 contacts 6 days a week, if you stay consistent with that, call tax delinquent, driving for dollars, and then your probates, those 3 lists right there, by far you will probably hit 250. If you're like, I don't want to do all that, I don't want to think about that. If you just, okay, don't think. This method right here is blunt force trauma. That's how I did it. When I first started, it was just blunt force trauma, and just go. Press the button and go. I promise you will probably make $250,000 just from that right there.
That's it.
If you don't want to think.
Eugene, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on my landing page for my JVs. I got kind of frustrated last night. AI is more difficult than I anticipated, but we're working on it. But I'm working on a JV landing page for people who are having these complicated deals, and they want to submit it to someone who can operate these at a high level and get these done. And it has all the states of where I'm operating in. So feel free. There will be some more information on that. But right now, my phone number is 301-541-7752. And then also, too, I do offer like a consulting call if you want to do those for an hour of my time. I can break down how to do the snipe stuff, A to Z. And if you take action, like I said, I have countless people who I've taught it to for free, and they're doing phenomenal. So, and yeah, those are kind of the 2 things. Working on the JV stuff for landing page, and it has criteria and all that on there. And then, like I said, you can reach out to me if you're interested in a consulting call, but love to chat with you guys and kind of, just get one leg up on the competition. Ultimately, it's all about investing in yourselves and taking one leg up. So
once Eugene has that landing page up, we'll put it into the comment section of all the videos that Eugene has been involved with He doesn't have to spend this time. He could spend 90 minutes going and finding a $100,000 deal. I mean, he's got what, two and a half, 3 million that are closing here that you're working with. You just were a knucklehead and went tier 3 on these. These things take forever to unravel. But what's your current pipeline?
Minimum, we're going to be at 3,043,000. On the high side, we'll be at 3.5.
Yep.
Around 3.5, 3.6.
And the average amount that you make per deal on those?
So out of, there are 16. It was 16. Out of the 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them are over 200,000. And then the other
Come on,
ones
guys.
are,
I'm telling you, if you get the opportunity to JV with Eugene on these deals, it'll change your life. He's just taking his time on these things because he's got a lot of deals that he has to get through the finish line, and a lot of hair to shave off of these deals. So it's going to be huge. We'll put that link in here once he has that up. And I couldn't endorse somebody higher. He's helped out so many people in the Wholesaling Inc. mentorship group and on our in the virtual office, which is just a live all day Zoom that people are in, making calls, doing deals. And so, well, definitely if you've got a hairy deal, Eugene's your barber. All right.
One thing also too, Brent, I would say, guys, remember when you're listening to people or whatever the case is, whatever, like, what I try to teach people is how do you replicate it again and again and again and again and again. And if you can't replicate it, I like to say, 8 to 10 times of a massive deal. And I like to try to push the boundaries of 250 or better. Then, you should ask yourself, is this, I want consistency. Consistency is the thing. Now, yes, the cash conversion cycle is something I'm working on of getting it faster. But these people should be able to okay, I have made a pattern of this and I've mastered this system to create bigger deals. So, yeah, that's why I like to try to teach people. So
awesome. Eugene, you're the best.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks for being on here, brother.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What a show, guys. If you got value out of that, if you've got some questions out of that, if something went over your head, make sure you put it in the comment section, especially if you're watching this, the replay of this, and you're confused about something. We actually go in and respond in our comments on YouTube. I know that sounds crazy, but we love you guys. We want you to be successful. And unanswered questions just lead to hurdles, which leads to inaction. And we hate that because we love massive imperfect action. So also check it out, wholesalinglaunch.com. I've got this 20 chapter book breaking down the whole business. You need to get this. You can get it absolutely for free at wholesalinglaunch.com. If you want the cool one, it's on Amazon. You can check that out. And that's it. My name is Brent Daniels. I love talking to people. I love this business. It completely changed my life financially, completely changed my confidence, completely changed, pulled me out of a really, really, really difficult situation, both mentally and emotionally and financially, certainly. And I've seen it happen countless times. I mean, countless times for people all over the country with all different backgrounds and all different experience levels. So if you just talk to enough people, make enough offers, you will win. All right. Remember this, keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world. You'll live a fantastic life. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.